Welcome to the Align and Inspire podcast. I'm your host, Laura Monique, teacher and curriculum writer turned program mentor and business strategist for coaches, educators, and mentors, and creator of signature program design. I've helped dozens of established coaches like you create their own signature program that creates incredible transformations and consistent growing revenue in their business. Whether you've created a program that felt off in some way, maybe it felt scattered or heavy or just hard to sell, or you know you're delivering results one-on-one and you want to create a more scalable offer, this is the podcast for you. Here you'll find practical strategies, encouragement, and inspiration to create the offer that you will be known for, that feels aligned, and that you are really meant to create to inspire others. Let's dive in. So welcome to another episode of the Align and Inspire podcast. I am thrilled to introduce Renae to you as my guest, all about cycle syncing your business. Welcome to the podcast, Renae.
Hey, I am so honored to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So how about we dive right in? Let us know a little bit about who you help and what you do.
Totally. So I started my business years ago as a health and fitness coach in the network marketing space and got to a place where I was working so hard and pushing so hard, burnt myself completely out trying to build my business, but inadvertently discovered how women are so different than men and how our menstrual cycles change everything about the way we show up every single day. And so now that's all I do. I help women who are entrepreneurs have big goals, big dreams, big visions. They know they're here to make a massive impact in the world, but it feels like they just can't with the amount of stuff that they're carrying, the amount of plates that so many women are juggling today. That feels like there's never enough time. We're pushing uphill. It feels like we're going to reach this place of burnout at any point. We feel like we're failing at mom life and business and all the things, just this expectation and this load that so many women are carrying. It's how do we tap back into the body and realize we were not meant to work in the same way that men are. And when we tap into how women are meant to work, it changes the game so much. We work less, we have more free time, we burn out less, all the things. In a nutshell, that is who I am. I help women do that in using their body from a very science background. I'm still part-time in the hospital working as a therapist in the hospital. And then also a very woo, intuitive, feminine side too. So it's the marrying and the blend of both of those two worlds together.
Yeah, I'm all about blending the logical with the more intuitive side and having both. And I just love what you do. And that's why I wanted to bring you on the podcast, because I think one of the biggest hurdles that I had in my business is I felt like sometimes I had such intense self-doubt and I would spiral into anxiety and stress. And sometimes I felt like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to keep this up. I've literally had my family be like, you can't keep going like this. It's hurting you. It's hurting your kid, your son, you can't, because I would have and I didn't even know it was anxiety at first. I would feel so nauseous. It was debilitating. And I had such strong anxiety for a while. And it was because a lot of it, there are multiple factors that I've been able to push past it. But one of the biggest factors is I was doing things that were really scary in the wrong phase of my business. And when I was able to move the right tasks or the right projects into the right phase, it opened up massively how I was running my business, because I think some of the strategies that I used to use as a teacher in my 9-to-5, the stakes aren't as high. You know what I mean? There's less pressure. There's less fear. There's less putting yourself out there. So it didn't matter quite as much when I was working in my 9-to-5, but it really matters in your business when you have to do so many scary things. So that is why I wanted to have you on the podcast. I think you have such wisdom in how to approach this so it feels easier.
That's so true. Even for me, thinking about, my job, I'm a neonatal therapist, like I said, per diem, and still do that. I love it. So I don't know when I'll ever leave it. But in that job, I rarely, there's days when you feel less energy, or there's days when you feel less whatever, but I'm not really having to push myself outside of my comfort zone a ton. There's this element of I know what I'm doing and I stay within that box. But when you're an entrepreneur, there's so much that you're pushing yourself outside of your comfort zone and expanding and growing. And like you said, trying new things and doing new things. And all of that requires a level of emotional stability. It requires like a level of emotional awareness of like what's actually happening. Like so much that when we tap into the body and how it's impacting us in those situations, it does make a huge difference.
Yeah, I love that. And then you're not, there's this idea, this very masculine idea that's like feel the fear and do it anyway. But then it's like, are you doing it in the right place where you are able to handle the fear in your body, or are you pushing yourself over the edge? And that was the thing that got me into the work and that you do, and like reading your book and learning more about it was because I can feel the fear and do it anyway to a certain extent. But there are times where I really feel the fear acutely and it really is hard on my body. And other times where I'm like, okay, it feels nerve-wracking to push myself outside my comfort zone, but I can do it.
Yeah. Well, so like I said, I started in health and fitness in the Beachbody world, and I still use their workouts. And so the other day I was doing a workout and I heard in the workout her say something along the lines of like embrace the struggle, because the level of struggle that you face is determining the amount of results that you're going to get on the other end. And I cringed so hard. I was like, oh, I hate this messaging. And it's been fascinating to watch as I've been working through this like workout program recently, like all these little things of like, just push past the hard. Like you have to do hard things. Like you have to be, these are they're the messages that we hear all the time. Like we hear in health and fitness a lot because obviously working out and doing big weights, like it's heavy, it's hard sometimes. And like, if you want to, get better in shape or whatever, like it does require you to do something you haven't done before. So I could see in that space where those messages relay in there the same as they would probably in business. So we see it all the time of like, push past your excuses, just keep going. When your body your body tells you got to stop, you can't stop. You got to keep going, right? And they're the same messages we hear in business. And I mean, I believed it for a really long time. Like chances like you did too. Like, and women are amazing, right? Women can accomplish so much and create so much and do so much. It hasn't even been up until the last decade or so that research has even been done on women in terms of medical studies and what we know about women and how women's hormones and bodies are different than men. It wasn't until, I get all my dates mixed up here, but I think it was like the 1986. It was like 1986 that women were included. That was when it was recommended that women be included in medical studies.
Wow.
I mean, I don't know about in Canada, but that's the US, right? So it hasn't been very long that we're even researching how women's brains are different and how women's bodies are different and how we function and how we do it. And so now that we are learning and we're leaning into it, it's like, wow, women don't have to just push through. We don't have to work just so hard. Like that's what leads. Right now, the statistics on women experiencing mental health disorders, anxiety, depression, you name it, burnout, like all of it is staggeringly high. Like it is statistically significantly larger in women than it is in men. And I think a lot of it is because of this. Like we're pushing women to their absolute capacity and telling them just keep pushing past it. Just keep pushing, just keep doing it. Like you can do it. And women have for a very long time, but it's come at a really big staggering cost in the process.
And I think too, like the thing that I had to wrap my head around, which I'd love to dive into with you around this, is that there are times when my capacity is so much greater. And there are times when it is less. And until I learned that, like I thought my high level capacity, I'm such an achiever, ambitious person. And if you're listening, you likely are too. I thought that was just my baseline. Like that's just normal. That's what I should be able to do all the time. And then I'd beat myself up about it if I couldn't do that later, or I would just keep pushing through rather than seeing that as like a higher level of capacity. Like that's not even my baseline. That is like extra. And I can really go big in those seasons and then do less later rather than trying to do that all the time. Cause that's definitely what burnt me out.
Totally. I think that there's like a misconception in the online space too. Like right now we're seeing a lot of people erring on the side of like masculine business versus feminine business. And there's a swing of the soft girl era, right?
Yeah.
We're seeing a lot of this like, just manifest it, just be in the energy of it, just attract it. And I am not going to discount that because I will say that's the number one thing I've changed this year. Like this year has been my year of focusing on what is my energetic state and how am I using that in my business. But we don't only do that. Like we have to actually take action in our business, and we actually have to do the things. We have to actually put the offers out there. We have to put the, the landing pages together. Like we have to do the things, but there are going to be times of the month when doing those things, it feels so much easier. It feels so much better. There are going to be times of the month where getting up early in the morning and going to bed late at night and working as much as you can in those days is going to feel really freaking good. Like you're going to feel amazing. You're going to feel accomplished. You're going to feel ready. You're going to feel on point. You're going to feel great. And like you said, there's going to be weeks that we don't feel that way. And then we get down on ourselves and we're like, man, why is my body failing me? Like, why can't I get up? Or maybe we hit snooze and we think when we hit the snooze button that we're being inconsistent, that we're lacking ambition, that we're not staying motivated, that we're not being driven, and all of those little messages that coming in based on those messages that we've heard before, when in reality, it's just your body shifting throughout the month and you need to respond to that. So there are going to be times when sleeping in is going to need to be the priority. Like going to bed early is going to be the priority over staying up late and doing that last minute hustle. There's going to be other times where that hustle is going to be totally fine. You're going to just need less sleep. You just need less effort, like it's so much easier. And so it's understanding that and not labeling it as I have good weeks and bad weeks. I hear that all the time. I have weeks when I'm feeling on point and I'm feeling ready and I'm motivated and I'm super energetic. And I have weeks when I feel like I'm failing. And like, why, like you said, how can I not stay at that baseline all of the time? And so then categorically, we label those other weeks as bad weeks. And so I'm like, I've got 2 good weeks and I've got 2 bad weeks. But that's also missing the point. Like there's not good weeks and bad weeks. Like every single week has a place and every single week has an intention. And I call it like a superpower. There's benefits and like magic in each one of the different phases. And we're missing out on it when we're just trying to blaze through it as if they're all the same. That's the missing piece. That is, I think, is one of the biggest things that makes women feel like they're totally burning out and they're just stuck on this hamster wheel of crushing it or trying to crush it every single day and feeling like they're drowning in all of the things that they have to do. And I mean, even today, like I have 3 kids, and those of you with younger kids, good golly, please plug in your ears so that you don't hear. It gets busier the older they get. I mean, I thought that when my kids got older and they were in school and they were whatever, that it was going to like things were going to lighten up. And now it's like more so. I'm like, I am at the fields, the gym. Even this weekend, I went straight from the hospital to the gym, like a volleyball gym, not my gym, like working out. And then I was there till 10 o'clock at night. Next morning, I'm up at 6 a.m. taking one kid to the soccer field, going straight from the soccer field back to the gym, went straight from the gym to another soccer field, and then came back. And then I was like, oh my gosh, that was my entire weekend. It was literally like soccer field to gym, soccer field to gym. That's what my life looks like, right? So I'm speaking at this from somebody who has an incredibly full schedule and calendar, in that like there are seasons and there's ebbs and there's adjustments that you can make even with all of those things in your plate. Like even when you're juggling all of those different things, knowing where my body's at and where my cycle's at is what allows me to not feel like I'm completely wasted at the end of it.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm really looking forward to chatting more, because as I was reading your book, I loved some of the elements that you were talking about the they're not bad weeks, that you have these superpowers that can really help you harness. Like there are certain things that like the dreaded tasks that I'm like, I really need to finish this dang thing. And I do not want to do it right now. But all of a sudden I feel like decluttering my house and like organizing my kids' toys and like getting everything in order in my business at a specific phase. And I'd love to jump into that. But before we do, I know that sometimes when I've spoken to my clients about cycle syncing, or when I've heard other people talk about cycle syncing, that some women will say, oh, well, I don't have a cycle right now, or I don't have a cycle anymore, so this isn't relevant to me. And I don't think that's true, but I know that you know more about this than I do. So what would you say on that end? If someone's thinking, like, if you're a mom and you have your cycle, I mean, yes, we're going to help you. But what if that isn't true for you? What would you say?
Yeah. I think it's really easy to look at like whether or not you have a period cycle or not and think like it discounts you. And on the very surface level, of actual cycle syncing to a cycle, 100%, they're different, right? Like if you don't have a cycle, if you're menopausal or if you're pregnant or any of those things, like you don't have a cycle. Like it's different. Like it's not, we can't just like blatantly say like, oh yes, this applies to everybody. But what does apply to everybody is that your body has a rhythm and your body has a flow of what it needs in a consistent basis. So when we look at just like we expand out and we look at how humans operate within the cosmic universe, right? Mother Nature has seasons and it has rhythms of the year. We have spring, summer, winter, fall. We have the moon, which cycles in a monthly rhythm. We have the sun that functions in a daily rhythm. We have the tides that come in and out. Like we have seasonal rhythms and poles that exist in our entire like universe, right? Like they exist. There's so many rhythms and cycles that exist. So to think that human beings don't operate in a rhythm or a cycle is just crazy, right? Like we do. And so when we look at how we exist in that, women tend to follow more of the moon cycle, our menstrual cycles. And there's belief out there that prior to the introduction of artificial lighting, that all of women's cycles matched up with the moon cycle. That was the rhythm that all women were under. And so we follow that same monthly rhythm, whereas men follow a daily rhythm in the way that testosterone functions. So testosterone functions in a 24-hour calendar or schedule where they wake up in the morning, high dose of testosterone, it waxes and wanes as the day goes on. They go to bed, they go to sleep, they wake up in the morning, they've got a fresh dose of testosterone. That is the way majority of us have been taught to function in that very daily capacity. But when we look at women's hormones, we have estrogen, progesterone that play out throughout the whole month. So we have higher estrogen in the beginning, higher progesterone at the end, and it changes the way we feel throughout that whole month. And so if you don't have a cycle for any way, shape, or form, one, I would say the core, the basis of everything I teach and do is how do you listen to your body? How do you listen to yourself? How do you start to lean into and listen? And if you have an irregular cycle or you're on birth control, sometimes not having a cycle can be actually an advantage to you because it's going to help you tune into and listen to your body better and easier than if you just had a really predictable cycle and you put it on your calendar and you didn't have to actually listen to your body. Those people aren't going to get as much of the benefit, right? Because really the benefit of everything I teach is like, how do you listen to you? Like, how do you slow down to actually feel the subtle nuances of like, does this feel right for me? Is this where I'm meant to go? Does this light me up? Does this feel good? Like, is this restorative? Is this nourishing? Like, where is my body telling me to go? And that is ultimately at the end core of it. So whether or not you have a cycle or not, leaning into actually listening to your body and whatever it's telling you. And then two, I am a firm believer that like finding that rhythm and leaning into a rhythm and helping your body support a rhythm helps feel that balance overall. And so I generally have my clients use the moon if they're in any one of those categories that doesn't have a cycle or things are really crazy and irregular and off and whatnot, is like using the moon to match up with that same rhythm tends to do the trick.
That makes so much sense. And I really liked your point about the rhythm, and everyone has a natural rhythm. Because I think one of the things that again, very ambitious over here, I expected, like I can be hugely productive, right, in certain phases. And before I knew this, I would get annoyed when I was in a really productive phase that my husband wasn't doing that. And he would get home from work at like 4 p.m. when they really drop. And I'd be like, come on, like what? Like I've been doing this all day. Like, why are you just sitting around? And I would get irritated because I would expect him to go, like I could go. But once I understood that they have a rhythm as well, like I have so much more understanding for what his body needs and how mine is going to be different. And like, that's okay because we all have a different rhythm rather than like you were just machines that can just power through the whole day, the entire time, every day.
Totally. Yeah. We start to like see how, like, I had a lot of clients like that would say that their spouses or partners would come home and they'd like sit in the car for a little while before they'd come into the house, or they'd sit on the toilet forever. And I'm like, dude, I've been dealing with kids all day long. Like, what is wrong with you? I need your help. But they're like wasted from the day, you know, like they need that little bit of a pick me up. So it is fascinating. It's not just enlightening for you of like how your body functions, but how does your partner, if you have a male partner, like how does their cycle and their rhythm impact you? And like, how do you guys work together? How do you communicate that? How do you support each other, even though you function on those different planes?
Yeah, I love that, rather than pushing through. So let's dive in. You go into it much deeper in your book, which we're going to link up in the show notes. It's a fantastic read. I read it before I even planned to connect with Renae on this. But where can we start? Like, what's kind of like a quick summary if somebody wants to start to think about how to sync up their business and what they do in their business to their cycle?
Yeah. So like I said, the estrogen is usually the more dominant hormone at the beginning of the month. Estrogen has a little bit more of this, like, I can go, I can do, I can create, I can get things up off the ground. Like you said, the tackling the to-dos that are not always the funnest part of our business, or the things that we have to get done, but we're not enjoying. It's oftentimes the time when I'll make a list of all of the random things too in my house. Like, I got to schedule the vet, I got to do the doctor's appointment, like all of those little things, because you're going to be the most in line to just be like, check, 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 get it done. Like, it's like focused brain power, just like on it the whole way. So the very, very first phase of our month is our menstrual cycle. That's when our hormones are at their lowest, and not much is happening in that way of hormones. Like, they're all kind of at the bottom, but oftentimes that's the place where we feel the most depleted. We feel like we maybe need more rest. Your body is physically losing a lot of blood, and that can oftentimes lead to a lot of fatigue and low energy and things like that. But as you are in that space, it's the phase when I used to like go back and forth. Like, I named it the recharge phase, like when I first started, because I was like, what does it feel like? What do we need to be doing? And I was like, recharging. And now I'm like, it's the visionary phase. Like, this is the phase when women tap into their vision. They tap into like that CEO part of who they are. That's one of the biggest mistakes I see a lot of business owners making, is just like in the weeds, in the doing, and in the go all month long. But this phase is like, how can we create some space from social media, create some space from all the noise, and actually get back to like, what is that deeper vision for me? Where am I going? What am I creating? What does that look like? And how do I really tap into that and like lead that from the month forward? And then that way, when that estrogen picks up and you start hitting that follicular phase and you're like checking the to-do list off, you're ready to go. You're like, I'm focused on the biggest priorities. I'm focused on the things that are actually going to move the needle. And then we get to the top of that estrogen curve when ovulation hits. And when ovulation hits, your body is like signaling to the world, like, mate with me, make a baby. I'm like ready. I'm like primed. I feel beautiful. I feel wonderful. You're the most magnetic. You're the most radiant. You're going to feel the most confident. You're going to be able to communicate the best. It's the time when, like, if I sit down and try to record social media content, I can record 10 reels in under an hour, versus if I try to do it in another phase, I might take an hour to produce one, like it's so much harder. But in that phase, you're like, dude, I felt like I looked beautiful. I said what I wanted to say. It came out clear. It was punctual, like, great. Like, that's power. And then after that, the ovulation, your estrogen dips and progesterone kicks in. And when progesterone kicks in is oftentimes the phase I hear from so many women that they hate, because they feel moody, they feel irritable, they feel like triggered by anything. Like, the kids leave a sock on the floor and automatically you're like, why does nobody care about me? Like, how did nobody else, like, in the whole possible world, like, you leave a sock on the floor when it maybe didn't bother you a week before, but now it's like the end of the world, right? Everything kind of becomes this like big catastrophic thing. So in this phase is the phase where most women feel like, wow, there's something wrong with me. Maybe I can't do this. Like, maybe my business, like, I just don't have what it takes. Like, maybe I'm failing as a mom and as a partner and as a business owner and like all the things. Like, we feel like everything is just caving in. However, this is the phase where we like tap into the deepest beliefs and fears and thoughts that are keeping you stuck. They're the things that are going to, like, once we lean into these things, instead of just trying to brush past it and push past it, one, we become less triggered, we become less snappy, but we also like uncover our biggest breakthroughs. We figure out what's no longer aligned for us, what's no longer serving us, that we like continue to elevate every single month that we go through this luteal phase. Like, it's become my favorite phase, because I know all of those sticky feels that come up is meant for me to go through. They're meant for me to process. Like, they're meant for me to like clear and make space so that I can call in the vision of that next month and what I'm really ultimately moving forward to. So that's one element. It's also, like you said, the time of the month when we like clear everything out. We're like dotting our T's, crossing our I's.
Yeah.
It's very organizational, it's like a nesting behavior, right? It's this progesterone is your pregnancy hormone. And so if you've been pregnant before, you know, like usually at the end of pregnancy, you start nesting. You're like, I'm getting myself prepared. I'm getting ready for a baby. It's our body's natural way of doing the same thing. But instead, now we're preparing to take the week off of our period. So we're like getting everything together, like dotting our T's, crossing our I's, tidying everything up, cleaning things out, clearing things out so that we can sit and actually take some rest and take some space and allow ourselves to sit in the vision of that next month. So it's like this beautiful cycle that goes round and round and round every single month, tapping into all of the different parts of who we are and what we need, right? Like each one of them has a core need that is being met. What happens for most women is we're like stuck in one mode all the time. We're in like hustle business building mode, hustle build is business building mode. And we get going. And then we're like, shoot, I just gained 20 pounds and I haven't actually spent any time with my kids and my partner, my relationship's failing and like all these things because all of our energy went to hustle building mode, right? Mm-hmm. And so what happens with the cycle is it's like, okay, we have hustle build mode. We also have relationship mode. We have tapping into ourselves mode. We have tapping in with others mode. Like we have these like modes of us that cycle through the month so that all of our parts are getting met. Like we're not feeling totally depleted in any one of those areas.
I love that. And that's why like one of the biggest things that I really shifted with that last phase, I call it like your fall phase, the progesterone heightened phase, right? Is that first being able to go through the harder things instead of pushing it under the rug and saying like, oh, this is actually the thing I needed to go through because through like the breakdown always happens before the breakthrough, right? So you need to move through those things to actually move forward in the way that you want to instead of just continuing to push through. And also if there are things that you've been putting off in your business that you know you need to do, like dealing with bookkeeping or hiring something or doing something that you don't want to do. Like even with me, like one of the things that a lot of clients tell me is they want to improve their core content curriculum, like their lessons, but you don't feel like you have space to do it. All of a sudden in that phase, you can really feel like I can finish all those projects that I've started. And you have this like completion energy instead of seeing it as something that like I'm dreading every month. So that's been so helpful, even reading, like learning that from you and seeing how like it's really made a big difference on my business. And also all the scary things like the sales calls, the presentations, putting yourself out there, you can do it in the phase before because then it doesn't feel so hard. It just feels a lot. There's so much more ease with it.
Totally. There are so many days when I like, before this, I would like get to my computer and be like, I do not feel like doing a podcast interview today. Or I don't feel like showing up on social media, but it's on my calendar. So I have to force myself and push myself through it. Right. But now I'm like, man, in that phase, there's usually nothing on my calendar. And I actually get space to like you said, tidy everything up, finish up the things, the projects that I've been wanting to work on, but they're behind the scenes. I stay in my pajama pants and I don't put on my makeup and I don't get myself ready. And I like troll mode, like grunge mode, my business for that week. And I love that. I love that freedom and that flexibility of not feeling like I have to be on and ready and vocal and beautiful and wonderful. Like there are times of my month when I am grungy as heck. Like I don't know, a few weeks ago, it was like a day, like one of those days, right? Grunge day. And I got to the store and I was like returning something at the end and I hadn't showered. I had worked out, but hadn't showered. My hair was up in this like ruddy, crusty bun. And I looked down and I had spilled my lunch on the front of my shirt. So I'm like wearing sweaty workout shorts with food down the front, crunchy. And I was like, my gosh, if anybody saw me right now, but I was like, but this is totally like, I'm in the luteal phase and I'm like, okay with it. I'm okay with just letting myself being totally grungy right now, returning something to Marshall's. Like, I don't care. And I think that that's where, I mean, not everybody's going to do that, but like just this element of, can we let ourselves have the highs and the lows? Like, can we let ourselves be in those cruddy, mucky places and just allow ourselves to sit in it and be okay with it and not have to be on all the time? And know that there are going to be times when you're on and you're on fire and you're feeling amazing and wonderful. And that's amazing too, right? Like, I don't know. One of the things that and this is kind of a little tangent, but like somewhere I've been going a lot with my Flow Collective, my mastermind, is diving deeper into like what it really looks like to build a feminine business. Because it's easy to take the cycle and just be like, this is where we put the different tasks. This is how we become more productive. This is how we achieve more just by being like a woman, right? And it's beautiful. It's wonderful. I love it. And it's amazing for women. But one of the places I've been really exploring is this like makes actually building a business as a woman different. And what does that really, really look like other than just like our workflow of like how we perform and how we do and how do we achieve more? And one of the places I've been really settling in is this place of what I've been calling my heck yes energy, is this place of really leaning into like pleasure and the things that feel so good and the things that feel juicy. And I think this is coming from generations and generations of trauma of women being told and taught they're not allowed to experience pleasure. Like we're not allowed to feel good. Like we're not allowed, like that's not a part of the woman's psyche to experience and go after pleasure and feeling really good. And it's been one of these things that when a woman is lit up, when she feels really freaking good about what she's doing, who she's serving, how she's serving, there's nothing that will stop her. She becomes so magnetic and becomes so amazing. And when a woman allows herself to honor, like, I need a little bit of rest and I'm going to go hard right now. And I'm going to, show up on camera right now. And I'm going to do that. It weaves into that flow of honoring that heck yes energy. Like, how do we help you tap into this place that you just feel so good? You feel nourished, you feel restored, you feel rested, you feel invigorated, you feel excited, you feel lit up. Like when you tap into that, it doesn't matter what systems you have in place. It doesn't matter what funnel you have in place. It doesn't matter how many times you post on social media. None of that stuff matters because it's no longer about this like masculine structure. It's like, and like I said, totally different conversation, but this is where I've been like really leaning into and like thinking and dwelling in of like, this is really what makes a difference for women is like when you honor your body and you honor how you feel more than worrying about like, does it have a fancy hook and does it have all of the pieces? And you just tap into that. I watch women. Like, I mean, just before this, we talked about it. I had a sales call and I watched this woman come on. She's feeling stuck and stagnant and feel like she's banging her head against the wall. She's been doing the work and going and whatever. To watch in 1 hour of a call to get her to this place of feeling so invigorated and lit up about her purpose and her vision and like what she wants to take, like she's going to become unstoppable going forward, right? Like that's what more women need to be operating from. And I think the cycle is just the beginning step of that.
Yeah.
That was a little tangent.
No, I love that. And I think that's so true because I used to think that there was something wrong. Like, why do I have this anxiety? I didn't used to have it before. Like it's getting in my way. And instead it was actually just, I wasn't listening to my intuition and my body. Yeah. And once I was able to listen to that, it fell away. Totally. And I was really like, I felt so much more in my power and easeful in my business and in my life. And I think like that's to me is what you're talking about too, is like that feeling like it doesn't have to be hard all the time. Yeah.
No, yes. There's some people out there, like different psychologists and researchers and stuff like that believe that all disease that we see in our current society is related to unmet or like unexpressed emotion and unmet needs, like that we're holding ourselves back from what we really truly want to do or what we really fully want to say or what we really want, who we really want to be. And that we're like holding ourselves back from being that or doing that or saying that. And that's what's creating the disease in our bodies, whether it's actual cancers, whether it's anxiety, whether it's autoimmune disorders, whether it's whatever, it's the unexpression of who we really are and what we really want and what we really need. And like, what would it look like if we had more women stepping into saying, this is what I truly desire. And this is what I truly want to create. This is what my body really wants. Like, this is who I am. Like if we like liberated women into feeling that, yeah, I 100% agree with you. I think we'd see far less disease overall.
I love that. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Renae. It was so fantastic to chat with you. If someone wants to connect with you, if they want to read your book, what is the next step to get to know you and get to know more of the work that you do.
Yeah. Grabbing the book would be great. I know you and I talked about there'll be some links in the show notes. If you're in the US, you can grab a free copy and I'll ship it out to you. You just pay for shipping and handling. If you're outside the US, then I have gifted a couple of the first couple free chapters for you. So you can grab the first couple chapters on the audio version because it's really expensive shipping internationally.
We understand. If you're in Canada, you're used to it. It's all good.
Yes. It's like, we're not that far away. How does it make that much a difference? But yeah. I mean, anyway, so you can go over and grab the book. That's probably the best place to start and to kind of dive in. Otherwise, find me on social media. Renae Fieck on Instagram is my favorite place to hang out. It's pretty much the only place I hang out. So come over, send me a DM. Let me know you listen to the podcast. I would love to hear your takeaways. I know Lauren would too. Like, we'd love to hear if something landed or resonated with you. And yeah, that would be the place to hang out.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much for coming on the podcast. It was great having you. We'll make sure to link all of that up in the show notes, Renae. And I will see you on the next episode of the Align and Inspire podcast.